Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to take a look at Mega Venusaur EX. Obviously we've covered a good chunk of the Megas so far on the channel, and now we're going to be taking a look at one of the ones that has gotten a lot of hype, and that is Mega Venusaur. So obviously in the next coming weeks as well on the channel, obviously as I've mentioned beforehand, I do have a bunch of older videos that are going to be coming out. One of which is actually the Venusaur EX from the 151 set. But of course, that is very different to the Mega. But of course, that will be done in a separate video, and of course that is an older video, so that it won't be up to date with Mega Evolution cards. So, before we go any further, in the description below as per normal, there's going to be the usual timestamps. There'll be the deck list that is also available to copy in the description below. There'll be the games that we'll play, and of course the outro and what I think of the deck. So the main attacker of this deck is of course going to be Mega Venusaur EX with the ability Solar Transfer. Think of this as like the Metal Transfer Bronzong that I used to play in my Melmetal list a long time ago. Melmetal VMAX to be precise. That was my first proper deck, and I kind of like the fact that Venusaur sort of reminds me of that. So as often as you like during your turn, you may use this ability, move a basic grass energy from one of your Pokemon to another one of your Pokemon. Then of course the attack Jungle Dump for 240, heals 30 damage from the Venusaur, but we're not really bothered about that heal 30, it doesn't hugely matter. We are playing a copy of Wally's Compassion to obviously help us heal and everything. Now Wally's Compassion does put the energy into the hand, but we can use Solar Transfer, move everything off, Wally's, heal the Venusaur, and then just do it again, so we can do that if need be. But of course, we are playing a pretty decent line, 3-2-2. Obviously, we could play 3-3-3, or 3-3-2, sorry, but I don't think that's necessary. Then, of course, we're playing a Meganium, which gives us the Wild Growth for extra basic grass energy, pretty much. Of course, instead of it being actual grass, it's providing. So instead of a basic grass energy providing 1, it instead provides 2. Now, this effect does not stack, just to bear in mind. Now, I am playing a single prize Pokemon in here, but I'm not playing what most people are at the minute, which is the Tapu Bulu. I do want to look at a Meganium Teal Mass Turbo sort of deck without the Venusaur. That could potentially have some growth with like E-Switch, maybe a Toedscool EX, stuff like that. I want to take a look at that at some point, but that'll be done later on the channel if I can think about it. I'm then playing a 2-1 line of the Toedscruel with the Slime Mold Colony. I did debate the EX, but I just don't think it's going to be hitting too hard. And to be honest, Teal Mask in this list is actually quite broken. So anything that we need to hit really hard, Teal Mask can actually be a surprisingly good attacker. But this disrupts Night Stretchers, it disrupts other support cards like that. And to be honest, it's going to be vital in the Goldengo matchup, so we need to establish this. And that's why I'm playing a 2-1 line and not a 1-1. I'm then playing a Regigigas in here. This is for the Terra matchup, so we can deal with Ceruledge, we can deal with Charizard, we can deal with Dragapult, stuff like that. And to be honest, hitting 330 on a Terra Pokemon on a single prizer is pretty cracked. Now, of course, you could fit in a Tapu Bulu, which would do 220, but of course, that doesn't take care of Terra Pokemon. This does. Now, as I said, I would probably throw a copy of this into the Teal Mass Turbo sort of idea that I had in my head. But again, I'll think about that once it comes to that. So, let's go to the deck list and let's have a look. And welcome to the deck list. So, I had a debate on what the ace spec should be. I've seen many lists using Max Rod, which I think is correct. But I've also seen Secret Box, which, you know, I agree with that, but they're not playing any tools, and some of them are playing quite a low support account. Like, they're not playing the highest support account to accommodate for that. So instead, I've just gone with Max Rod, which, you know, gets us energy back. We can then Teal Mask it. We can obviously grab Pokemon back as well. So that was my thought process. So I'm playing a 3-2-2 line of the Mega Venusaur with the Bulbasaur and Ivysaur. The Bulbasaur can obviously trap stuff with Bind Down. I did debate the Relicanth in here, but I don't think that's necessary. Purely because of how weak the other attacks are on the Venusaur, the Ivysaur, and the Bulbasaur. Bind Down is good and all, but I just don't think that is warranting a space for a Relicanth in this list. If the Ivysaur and the Bulbasaur had much better attacks, you know, like, it would be something that could be considered, but because of the weakness on these attacks and how poor they are, I'd rather just swing with Venusaur, so that's why I'm not including a Relicanth. Then we're playing 3 Teal Mask Ogerpons, 2-2-2 line of the Chikorita Bayleef and Meganium, a 2-1 line of the Toedscruel, 1 Fez. We don't really want to be putting Fez down because obviously we're going to have Teal Masks in play. We want to be making it hard for our opponent to take multiple prizes on us. Obviously Teal Mask is only 210 HP, a lot of stuff is covering that these days. So we don't want to be covering that and giving them a 2-2-2 prize race. Ideally, we want to be giving them a 2-3-3, so that way they have to go through 2 Venusaurs. Or maybe a 2-3-1 prize race because of the Teal Masks. We can then put a Venusaur in their face and then maybe finish them off with Regigigas. Stuff like that. Then we're playing 4 Lillie's Determination, 4 Iono. This is a bit higher than most lists. This is because I want to try to disrupt my opponent as much as possible. 3 Boss. This is unusually high, and obviously we are playing the Counter Catcher as well. This is mainly because obviously we don't hit the hardest with our Venusaur, only 240, which, you know, it will deal with Fez and things like that, and obviously opposing Teal Mass. But in an ideal world, we want to be going around like the Megas that they may have, unless they are grass weak. And obviously anything else that we can deal with, you know, we can obviously deal with that. But obviously 240 is not the highest, so that's why I'm trying to play into that gusting sort of thing. 1 copy of Jacq. This is criminally underrated in these lists because obviously we're playing a lot of evolutions. We are playing Bug Catching Set, which, you know, this is a very good card. But I just like having a Jacq in these sorts of evolution decks if I can play it, you know. Having the ability to just search for any 2 evolution Pokemon and then just Forest of Vitality immediately, like, that's crazy, you know, when you think about it. I'm then playing 1 copy of Researchers for a little bit of extra draw in the list, and then 1 Wally's Compassion. We can obviously use the Solar Transfer, move the grasses around, put them back onto the Venusaur or whatever attacker we want, and fully heal our Venusaur in the process. Not a bad idea. 4 Bug Catching Set, 3 Ultra Ball, 2 Night Stretcher, 1 Counter Catcher, 1 Superior Energy Retrieval, 1 Max Rod, 3 Forest of Vitality, and 10 Grass. Personally, the way in which we could improve this list is, I think a Tapu Bulu would make sense. We are playing quite a high count of Pokemon, as you can see here, 21. But a Tapu Bulu as a single prize option would not be a bad idea. Obviously, we have the Gigas, but the Gigas is only good against Terras. Tapu Bulu just does 220 straight away for just 2 grass in play with the Meganium, so that's not a bad idea to consider. My only other thought process is something that can, you know, just cover our back. So a Pokemon that can obviously deal with the bigger Megas. So there isn't really many that come to mind, but for grass, I think there's a... Let me think about it. I off the top of my head, I can't remember, but I know there's a decent grass Pokemon that we could play. Obviously, Teal Mask with the Meganium in play can hit stupid numbers if they have a lot of energy on their Pokemon. So Teal Mask could cover that for us, but I don't really like the thought of a 2-prizer doing that job. I'd want a single prizer, but I think a Tapu Bulu would probably fix some of the issues that this list may have. But other than that, I think this list is pretty solid. Like, you could go up to 4 Forest of Vitality by cutting a grass, but it entirely depends. But of course, it's down to you at the end of the day. I just made the list how I think it could be made, but obviously, at the end of the day, I'm not going to be able to fit everything that I want in these lists. So, you know, you can make your own changes, but those are some of my suggestions. Anyway, let's get into some games, see how we do. Welcome to the first game. I was just claiming some rewards that I got for hitting Mewtwo rank. Completely forgot to do them last night when I did my dailies and testing for the... So at the time of this recording, we have spun the wheel for the next episode. So not the Koraidon one that's coming up, spoiler alert. But we have tested for, well, we've spun the wheel for the next one afterward. So I've actually been doing quite a bit of testing with that, and then obviously I did my dailies last night, so yeah. You'll also notice that you saw in the deck list, if you was paying attention, like the bits that I had. Oh, this is a horrible starting hand. This is not good, but we do get a Mully. What we're facing. This is Hydrapple. Ooh, I need to take a look at that list at some point. They're going first or second? They're going first. Okay. Iono's not bad. Iono's not bad. They will put Forest in play for us at least, so that's something. So as I was saying, I do need to look at Hydrapple, but yeah, I've been in the works testing for that specific... What is it? I've been testing for that specific thing at the moment, so I've not actually played too many games with Venusaur at the minute. I've only played a couple, but still, looks like they're getting pretty well set up at turn 1. They're getting the Toedscool down, they've got Teal Mass in play, they've not got a Chikorita down, but they could Teal Dance into one. Obviously, I don't want to put down Forest, I want them to find the Forest, but if I can make them, you know, if I can make them put the Forest down for me, that means I can Ultra Ball it away. So, we do at least have options there. Okay. Chikorita is fine in the active. That is a very good top deck. So that's Teal Dance to the... Oh boy. It's going to have to be an Ultra Ball. So Ultra Ball, Counter Catcher. In fact, I actually want to keep that. I'll get rid of one of the bosses and the Night Stretcher. We can grab ourselves a Bulbasaur. Let's do a quick prize check whilst we're here. We prized one of the Ivysaurs and one of the Bulbasaurs. We've also prized a Venusaur, which is concerning. The Pokemon, that's fine. We've got one Iono in hand. We've not prized any Lillies, so it's not looking too bad. We've also prized a Grass Energy. So not looking too bad. So now that we've thinned a bit, we can go for a Bug Catching. That's not bad. We can get a Toedscool and a Teal Mask. So we'll put down the Teal Mask, put down the Toedscool, and Iono. Freshen up our hand a little bit, because the hand is pretty dead. There's a Meganium, but we don't get what we need. We need a Bayleef, but we can at least get some energy into play. There's an Ultra Ball. I can Ultra Ball away the Meganium and the Forest and get another Bulbasaur down in case they gust it. So we can always get Meganium back. It's not the end of the world. Plus we're playing two of them, so... Yeah, I think that's correct. So we'll get another Bulbasaur. I can then put an energy on one of them. And pass. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to fit everything on this board. That's the problem. We don't play anything like a bench extension. And speaking of Forest, there it is. And looks like they have the entire line in their hand. Oh no, they don't. They don't have the Meganium, so that's good. That's good for us. Does make it a little bit harder for us though, because obviously we need to Iono, we need to get our evolution set up. I need to get this Chikorita out of the active for one thing. So you know, we have some lines here. We could potentially take the first two prizes if we get lucky off this Iono. He is retreating. Something tells me he's dead drawing, which is good for us. Let's see what he does. He could promote the apple, but that's kind of risky. He could also promote the toad. No. Possible double Hydrapple? Okay, he's going for the swing with Teal Mask. Okay, I see where he's going with this, and he's taking up my Chikorita. Yeah, I can see where you're going with this, mate, but that does cause bad things for you if I can get this going. Okay, that's fine. Let's see what we can do. I'll promote the Teal Mask. Lilies. I'm definitely not going to hand disrupt them whilst I've got two cards in hand. Okay, that is bad. That's really bad. We could swing with the Venusaur, though. In fact, no, we can't. We're not short. I can gust the Meganium. Could be an option. I can gust the Meganium and stall them. At least until we draw into stuff. I'm definitely going to get that energy off the Teal Mask on the bench and put it on the Venusaur. And we'll just pass. Quite unfortunate we whiffed on that, but at least we kept the Pokemon or the Counter Catcher. Because I know for a fact these lists don't play Switch at all. Their only Switch is the... Okay, that's fine, I'll take the Iono. I don't need to put a Forest down. There's Bayleef and Meganium, so now we just need a Chikorita. There was one left in deck. Nest Ball, what's he grab? now. Fez, well, I'm not taking a knockout. Not straight away, at least. If we take out the Meganium, we can force them into a bad spot. There's a Chikorita. Excellent. Which means we can go straight into the Meganium. We can then Bug Catching Set. We get more value off the draw. Sorry, Toedscool. I like you and all, but unfortunately, I kind of need to draw some cards. So, Teal Dance. There's another Forest. That's entirely useless. Teal Dance. Another Bug Catching Set. I could take this out with Venusaur, and I think that's probably my line. Take this out with Venusaur, put the biggest bugger I can in front of him, and go from there. I can get a free manual attachment in, so I'll do that on the Bulbasaur there. And we will Jungle Dump for 240, take out the Meganium. They could set up their line again. I'll check the discard in a second. It would help if the game would not do that. So, they could set up their line again. It is possible. They could also just, you know, like, fully attack with this Hydrapple here. There's Toedscruel, and that's fine. So now our Night Stretcher that we have left is offline. And a big fat research. Now, their disadvantage here is because of how big Venusaur actually is, we could potentially get out of range of their attack. So they can Teal Dance, Ripening Charge, and then Manual Attach for Syrup Storm. So that gets them to, what's the math? 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210. So they can get to 210. We could, if we successfully get this off, we could potentially gust the Teal Mass with a 3 energy on it. I think that's the math on this anyway, because they need to manual attach, I know that much. So 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210. Okay. We can also just retreat the Venusaur, it's not the end of the world, but we are forcing them to find more Gust, which, you know, I don't know how many Gust these lists play, and he's not played any Gust. Okay. Wally's off the top would be amazing, but I doubt it. There's a boss, though. That's pretty good. So we could retreat this Venusaur and then gust up this Teal Mass, take that out. I think that's probably our line. We could take out the Fez as well, but I don't think that's appropriate. So, that's a useless pair off of that. Okay. I think I'm correct in that we should retreat this Venusaur, boss this, and go from there. So we'll retreat the Venusaur. Doesn't matter which one. We can then Teal Dance. Get a draw in. Teal Dance. How much energy would we need to take out the Hydrapple? 210. Would it be possible? I want to see off the Venusaur. I don't know if it's possible. Let's have a look. We can. Okay, so I need to solar transfer 1 off. Keep it there. I think that's enough. That is a visual bug. There is stuff there. I can then just Lillies for 6. I don't need to boss. I could shuffle and draw. And that was the right decision. We can then catch in, fail that, and Mirror Leaf Shove 330. Obviously, this is to make our prize map a little bit more awkward, but, you know, given the situation. There's Max Rod, that's going to be useful very shortly. And so is that Ivysaur. So, 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180. So we can knock out my Teal Mass, that's fine. We can Max Rod for what we need. But then again, with this in play, we can't Max Rod. That's going to be an issue. There's Diplin. I like the fact that they're playing the attack one now. This one's underrated. I need to play Hydrapple at some point. Literally all I'm going to do, though, is rip out the Venusaur line and just put the Hydrapple in. That's probably what I'm going to do. Max Rod probably won't be the ace spec, it'll probably be Legacy. But you get my point. Honestly though, this bug is hilarious. Like, it looks like there's only 3 energy here, there's not. There's 4. It's just a bug. So obviously with this Toedscool in play, it's going to make it a little bit more tricky. We can't Max Rod. The only way in which we could is if we take this out, but... It's going to be tricky. It's going to be tricky. I don't think we're going to win from here straight away, but we could. There's 360 on the Teal Mask. Okay. So how much changes in that discard? 7. Okay. Well, there's 1, so that's good. Teal Dance to you. There's Superior, but obviously Superior is shut off by Toedscool. We have to Iono here. We can't let them keep that size of a hand. That's not great. We do at least take out the Teal Mask, so that's something. So we'll do that. Then they come back in with their Teal Mask, and it's going to get a bit harder from here. Wally's Compassion, that's not bad, but with all of our energy bomb, because I believe our last energies in the prize cards, this is going to get ugly. So there's Chikorita. Flip the script. 30, 60, 90, 120, 150. They could get there. They could get there. They could get there. 30, 60, 90, 120, 150. Then again, I think Meganium actually helps get there. So even though I don't have as many energy on this Teal Mask right now, I think because of Meganium in play, he can still attack with this. I think that's how it works. There's Bayleef. If he gets Meganium, yep, he's got Meganium. And a late game Iono. Okay. Things just got awkward then. And that is a dead card. Yeah, down goes our Teal Mask. I think that's just won him the game right there. We'll promote the Venusaur because, well, it's our biggest boy. And that is a Jacq. So yeah, we lose. Let's go to a game 2. And welcome back to game 2. I actually quite enjoyed that, but that also just proves my theory on that. Why would you play Venusaur when, you know, Hydrapple exists? Like, I think that's the better grass deck at the minute. I'm not saying Venusaur's a bad card. No, I don't think that. I just feel that, you know, Hydrapple just covers more bases, if that makes sense. So, like, with Hydrapple, you have the 2 prizer, you have obviously the option of Legacy Energy, if you want to play that to make it a 1 prizer. Oh dear, that is a horrible... Well, at least it's a Molly. Okay, that's fine. Oh, it's the Alakazam Psychic Draw deck. I've been testing that. It's actually pretty solid. Yeah, this is not a great start for us, though. I will say. And obviously, because we're a big 3 prizer, it's going to be pretty tricky. And well, starting with just 1 Bulbasaur and no Chikoritas in hand. I mean, it doesn't hugely matter, because obviously Forest of Vitality lets us, you know, do it after our first turn. We can just evolve them straight away. But like I say, I don't think Venusaur's going to see as much competitive play as people actually think. I actually think Hydrapple's going to see more play. But that's my take on it. Alright, let's see what we draw to start. That is a Meganium. That is useless. We will just attach to the Bulbasaur and we will pass. Yeah, I've been testing a list for this Hydrapple... Not Hydrapple. It's because I have Hydrapple stuck in my head now. This Alakazam draw deck, and honestly, it's pretty solid. It is quite vulnerable to late game Ionos, but as long as you're prepared for that, it is actually pretty solid. It's not a bad deck at all. And they're playing Lillies. I'm not playing Lillies in mine. That's interesting. I mean, it gets you 8 cards, but, you know, there's another done. Now, this is obviously a single prize archetype, so it is going to be a bit trickier for us to deal with, because, well, they place damage counters, not do actual damage. So even if we had... Well, the only way we'd be able to counter this is if we played a copy of Mist Energy, which I know for a fact they're not playing. Well, I know for a fact most of them are not playing the Enhanced Hammer, or Special Hammer, whatever it's called. But yeah, that's the only way we'll be able to stop this sort of deck. And they can go for a Find a Friend, which is pretty solid at this point. But it also makes me wonder if they're playing the 60 HP Dunsparce like I am. And there's the Dudun. Alright, what do we get? A Research. I'm not playing that. Not with that in my hand, I'd rather Iono. Oh boy. Well, I mean, we get the Toedscool, that's something. Bug Catching, some energy. Oh god. We'll attack to the Bulbasaur and then we'll bind down. If they don't draw into a Dunsparce, we're at least forcing them to potentially find a switch or something. But I know for a fact these lists don't play switch. There's a Buddy Puffin. Now I know they do play Night Stretchers as well. So we're going to have to time our Ionos in this matchup as well. I had to play the Iono there because of my draw situation. But if we could keep the Dunsparce locks, I'm not hugely bothered. Bill's Transfer, that can get him a Dodon, potentially. I am playing a copy of this. Oh my god. Jeez. 2 Kadabras and an Alakazam. That's crazy. He's going to draw a lot of cards here, folks. Yep. Evolve to the Kadabra again. You might even just leave it in hand and then just rare candy Alakazam. Nope. That's fine with me. I mean, it can get his Doduns set up as well, which is an option. I mean, we're trapped him with Bulbasaur for now, but we can just Iono and put his hard work back to where it was. Our main priority, though, is taking out the Duns in this matchup, so we need to try and find our Venusaur as soon as possible. Well, there's a Teal Mask, so we will put that down. Teal Dance. There's another Meganium, we don't need that. And I'll just Iono. Obviously, I've not had a chance to do a proper prize check because, oh my god. What is this deck? Sheesh almighty. Right, we'll just go for a bind down, I guess. This is not looking good for us at all. Are we going to have to just start swinging with Tilmas? Like, this is genuinely insane. That's 2 Ionos played. He's got a done, and we've got nothing. Jeez. I probably should have played that Research, because then maybe I could have, like, found a, like, refound Max Rod. And, well, apparently played against the main character again. Jeez. Runaway draw. They're just going to stack cards in their hand all day long. Now, I don't know if they know, but they can use Runaway Draw to get out of the Bulbasaur lock. They can do that. But we don't have a lot going for us after this goes down. There's a Jacq. Interesting card. I think I played a Jacq in mine. It's either a Jacq or a Hilda. I think I'm actually playing both. I'm playing 2 copies of Hilda and a Jacq. But yeah, this is not looking good. I don't think I was going to say I didn't think he knew, but you can do that. But obviously, here comes Alakazam with his powerful hand. Oh boy, does he not have an energy in hand? Is my main thing. But I know they played at least 5 Psychic, so we could be in trouble here. Another Dodon. You don't need to keep drawing. You have 15 cards in hand. This poor Bulbasaur is long dead. I mean, we could at least Teal Mask, attach, and then swing into the Alakazam. I don't even know if that's enough. 30, 60, 90, 120. It is enough, but barely. See, there was no reason to just keep drawing there. You had the knockout. You save your resources, you know? Or is that just me? Well, that's an Ultra Ball. We can Ultra Ball for a Fez. But obviously I didn't know if Fez was prized. I'm not taking another Teal Mask because then I can get more drawn. This gets me an extra couple of cards. Oh my lord. Bug Catching. You. Sheesh almighty. Alright, we can at least get a Bulbasaur down. That's something at least. There's a Wally. The biggest Wally is me who decided to play this bloody deck, it seems. Let's go for a Lillie. Still no Forest of Vitality. This is looking rough. We have got an Iono though, so that's good for later. Can take the Venusaur to hand as well. And yeah, we'll just Mirror Leaf Shell for the knockout. They will just return KO for a 2-prize knockout, but what can I do? What can I do? The first game, I'll at least accept that the first game was like a good game, but I lost it. You know, like because they got to go attacking before I did. But like, this is insane. I'm facing a single prize archetype which could just one-shot me. Yeah, the biggest Wally's me apparently for playing Venusaur today, it seems. But yeah. Like I said, I don't think Venusaur's a bad card. I'm not going to suggest that. I don't think it is. I just think, why would you play it when Hydrapple exists? You know? Like, Hydrapple does a very similar thing, but does it for only 2 prizes and hits a lot harder than Venusaur can. I think this guy's got a daily or something to like do as much damage as possible because you are doing 360 damage. You know? You're now doing 400 damage. Either this guy's recording a video or he's just showing off. Genuinely. Like, you have 19 cards in hand. You do not need to be taking this long to take a knockout. You are slow playing, in my eyes. You just don't. You don't need to be making these actions. And if anything, you're actually making it worse for yourself when I do Iono you. You know, you'll be down to 3. But no, I don't get why he's slow playing. Like, he's 5 minutes behind me. That's... You don't need to do all these actions just to get to 22 cards in hand. I don't know. Alright, let's see what we can do. There's a Forest. That's good. So we had a Bayleef in there, didn't we? Yes, we did. So we will Night Stretcher for that Bayleef. Do that. Oh yeah, I haven't put the Forest down, you dingleberry. Don't worry, I'm not calling the folks at home a dingleberry. I'm calling myself a dingleberry. Okay, that's an energy. We can take that. Well then, first for 3. So we need to Iono this turn. There's an Ultra Ball, so we can get rid of the Gigas. And we can get rid of a Lillies. So grab an Ivysaur. Because now we can go into the Mega and Iono. Which feels pretty good. That feels pretty good. Get that fat hand back into that deck, you slow player. Alright, we can do that for definite. We then Solar Transfer to the Venusaur and Jungle Dump. Take it out. And there's Superior, nice. Won't help us now, because obviously we do have Max Rod in hand, but we can pretty much make this opponent now go through what we need them to go through. I want them to go through Venusaur, but I want them to work for it. That's fine. That is completely fine. I'm hoping that that Iono has just stalled them out completely. Yes, it does shuffle their deck. That's something to consider. It does shuffle their deck with this Artisan. But hopefully that Iono really stuck them. Because they've got 2 Alakazams in the discard part. I know they tend to play a 4th... Well, it depends on your list, to be honest. If you're playing Enriching, you probably want to play 4-3-4. Sacred Ash, that's fine. That's just more cards for you to shuffle back in. That is completely fine. Did he? Oh, I thought he left one in there. Apparently not. That's fine. Like I said, what I can do is I can attack primarily with Venusaur and then Wally's Compassion with it. So we have options in this matchup. We're not completely out of the woods. Boss. What's boss going to bring up then? Because I could just get energy back. I'm not hugely forced. He's probably thinking the Ivysaur, but I can deal with that. I can solar transfer Teal Dance, get this out of the active. So no matter what he gusts, and there we go, the Ivysaur, that just proves how effective Quad Iono is in its matchup. That's the only thing that puts me off this deck. Alright, so we'll Ultra Ball away the Chikorita and the Superior. Grab ourselves the Venusaur. We'll evolve into the Mega. I could Max Rod, but I don't think that's worth it right now. I will just Lillies. Okay, that's not too bad. It doesn't matter which Solar Transfer I use. There we go. Sometimes it can be a bit buggy sometimes, but that's just PCG Live. And there we go. Dunsparce is down. That cuts off a bit of his draw. Because now his deck is humongous and he's only got a 1-card hand. You know, I can play into what he wants to play. Like, I don't have to rush this. I can Max Rod, get back some energy. So if he tries to trap, I don't know, Meganium, I can deal with that. But yeah, we might have just saved ourselves in this matchup. And that's just a pass. That's good. We can boss this Kadabra now. So I'm going to Max Rod. Run back some energy. Regigigas isn't really good as an attacker in this. So that's something to consider. I can grab back the Teal Mass, another energy. So let's Teal Dance. Because remember, I can manually attach as well. That's another option. There's an Iono. I can save that for later. I'm going to attach one to the Meganium. The reason for this is because Meganium can take out a Alakazam. So I'm going to Gusty, Kadabra, and Jungle Dump. Force him to find Candy. That's what we want. Candy Energy. That's what we want. This is what I mean. You did all that drawing, wasting all your resources and investment, and this is where it got you. This is why also I play a higher boss count than most. I'm playing 3 boss in here. And a counter catcher. There's another Abra. The moment he evolves anything into a Kadabra, I'm gusting it. There's no questions asked. I'm not going to take the risk here. Okay, that's fine. We can take out a Dunsparce, but I'd rather put pressure on the Abras. I'll bump his Stadium, just because I can. I can then Teal Mask. I'm not going to draw too many more cards, because we are getting close to decking out. I'm going to put 1 energy on the Toad, just in case. And do I want to take out Dunsparce or an Abra? Let's take out Dunsparce, it doesn't usually matter. We go down to 1 prize. And that's that. So now he has to find game this turn, and I very much doubt it. He needs Candy, Energy, Alakazam, plus 19 cards in hand, or a boss, or something like that. There's a Bill's transfer. He gets 6 off of that. Was that why was he playing Relor in there? Just play a Shaman. I get Rapsco provides a bit more versatility and stuff, but, you know. So he still needs to find a lot, and obviously if he commits his turn attachment to enriching, he loses. He could claw this back, you know, like he could. He very much could. But I'm putting the biggest Pokemon I have in front of him. He needs 19 cards in hand. There's an Abra. Candy, Alakazam, so that gets him to 14. But remember, he needs Psychic Energy in order to do it as well. And he is down 3 energy. He's down 3 energy. He needs to find an energy. There's the energy. If he has Gust, he could stall me, but again, I can just Solar Transfer. I think we've got this in the bag now. But again, he continues to take the MIG, like, you know. Right, Fez, that gets him to 15. If he evolves to Kadabra, that gets him to 16. There's the Kadabra. He could get to 17, but he needs 19, that's the thing, to take out a Venusaur. Because remember, he builds transferred for supporter. I don't think he's got it. If he had it, he wouldn't be playing this slow. How's his discard looking? Kadabra, Arbor, Dunsparce, 3 energy. I don't think he's got it. He can't hit the Venusaur hard enough. He does 320 here. Counter Catcher. If he takes out Meganium, not a problem. Because we just solo transfer. Yeah, you're 100% slow playing now, mate. I don't get this behaviour, man. But we've got this in the bag now. He can't hit us hard enough. That's fine. We have enough energy in play to Mega Venusaur for game. This is why TCG Live needs a report function. I've always said that. Yep, your powerful hand is all well and good. Should I BM because of how much of a, you know... Yeah, I'm going to BM. I don't approve of BMing, but I'm going to BM. Because I don't like this player. Yep, that's what I thought. You didn't want me to BM. That's a win for Venusaur. A well-deserved one against a rather toxic player. I don't appreciate you slow playing when you don't have it, you know. But either way, I think we did pretty well there with Venusaur. I'm going to leave it there because that match felt like it took forever, but anyway. So what did I think of the deck? Well, like I said, I think Venusaur is a good card. I'm not going to dispute that. My issue is, for 50 HP less and 1 prize less, you can just play Hydrapple. Which, you know, Hydrapple doesn't hit a definitive 240, which, you know, you can play into that with a Meganium and stuff like that. But I think, personally, the Venusaur is a very good card to, like, have a control list with. If you had, like, more Wallies in the list, you had more, control cards like Iono. Like obviously playing quad Iono I think is acceptable in this list, because obviously Venusaur relies on its bulk a lot of the time. But personally, I think this list, whilst it is good, I think I'd rather just play Hydrapple, which I will cover Hydrapple on the channel. I do have a list in the works for Hydrapple. It's probably going to be very similar to this, just with a Hydrapple line. But yeah, I think this card is good, but I don't think it's entirely relevant right now. Maybe when Hydrapple rotates, this can be the new Hydrapple, in a way. But until then, I don't think this card is worth building for. Anywho, I'm going to leave it all to it for today. Really hope you enjoyed seeing Mega Venusaur in action, and I'll see you next time.